All right. I've got 7:03, so let's get going. For
Todd, I'm gonna check it with you tomorrow, okay? Have fun.
you mailing out? Okay.
All right, thanks.
For those, I think everybody knows me, Todd Schneider, BWB, EXP Realty. Um, I want to recap what we've done so far. Um, we were going over lead generation, possible lists where you can go out and find off-market properties, some on-market, send them to investors and that sort of thing. And I want to recap what we've done over the past, 3 weeks, 2 weeks? Yeah, this will be the third week, I guess. Um, Number 10, we were dealing with Zillow, with on-market fixer uppers, even off-market, involving, let me let Michelle in, um, off-market stuff, on-market stuff, and that. So that was number 10, and you can watch it on the video. They're posted on the BWB YouTube channel. Number 9 was tax defaults. Number 8 were expired listings. Number 7 is vacant land. And quite frankly, I think that is a very overlooked um, genre, if you will, where you can actually make a decent amount of money in some instances. Then we went on to code violations last week, probate and inherited properties. And then we had my little bonus thing, reverse wholesaling. So that brings us to number 4, moving to the number 1 lead generation for you. And that's going to be vacant properties, real property vacant. Um, let's start out here. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? I want to back up a minute. Sarah, you're on here. The other day, Sarah came up with a possible lead gen source that she was working on. She said she had some success. I assume so. I'll let her speak about that. But what she did is she found them with moving sales, estate sales, and that sort of thing in her local area. And I thought that was brilliant. I never even thought about that. I don't know why, but I just didn't. Sarah, you're on
Yeah,
here. Could you tell us
yeah.
briefly about your experience and what you found?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, it started because I was just driving home from brunch one day on the weekend and I saw an estate sale sign. So I decided to stop by and it turned out to be a pretty good, lead source. So then I started to, when I went back home, I started to look online for some local estate sales and also garage moving sales. And I skip traced those addresses that I found and just like contacted those people. Some of them picked up, some of them didn't. I texted some of them, and it turned out to be a pretty good lead source. So if you guys want to,
Did you have some conversations with them? Were they semi-interested?
yeah. So a couple of people did say that they are selling. Um, it definitely requires follow up. The one that I went to see in person, that first one that I stopped by at, it was they said that they already have a family friend who is going to list their property. So I reached out to that realtor who was gonna list their property, and they said that they are accepting cash offers. So if I find a buyer who's interested in buying that or putting in an offer, then I would potentially represent an investor buyer.
Have you already I'm sorry, have you already been through the express offers?
I'm still in the process of getting the certification for that. So yeah, I'm still taking the course.
Okay, all right. That's a good source. You might sign up with agentsinvest.com.
Mhm.
I can give you the information for Dina. You can reach out to her and just, matter of fact, if I can find it real quick, I'll just put it in the chat. Give me just a moment. Depends on what email box I was using. I've got about 12. So, yeah, here it is. Now, Brenda reached out to Dina, and Brenda didn't quite have enough experience for her to bring her on, but we're going to work on that. And that's her email.
Mm.
And talk to her and get signed up. You might be able to run some offers through there for through that company as well.
Okay, is that like express offers?
No, this
No.
is a separate private company. You will have to give up a referral fee,
Mhm.
the straight cash offer. You know, you're going to have to work your fee out one side or the other. Who's going to pay you, but you can run it through there.
Okay.
Good lady, good lady. They know what they're doing. They understand investing, and they got about 350 to 400 investors on that platform.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So we are, okay. Yep, we're recording. So that was the recap. Thank you, Sarah. We got that. Now let's move on to vacant properties, but I did want to give kudos for a great idea because I actually went on my local areas and started scouring through Facebook and then the online stuff. And I found 3 properties that look like they might be having some issues or something's going on or whatever. One of them didn't appear to be in any distress at all, but it said they were moving. So anyway, nice home too. All right, let's move along to vacant properties. USPS collects data on, when they try to deliver mail. That's where these lists come from. They come from the USPS. Uh, Mail stacks up. Eventually, they just put a sticker on it, vacant, and they don't deliver any more mail to it. Well, that goes into a database, and those databases at one time were taken away from us, but now they're back. Okay. It's, I think they fought a legal battle on a FOIA thing or something. Anyway, it's back. And you can use PropWire. That's free. I showed you guys that last week. Well, I think the week before that too. I will just jump on here. And here, one of your lead types is vacants, vacant homes, vacant lots, that sort of thing. And you can find it on, and that's a free source. Now, the paid source, you can use PropStream, which is paid. I use PropStream. I don't know if I'm going to keep it since I have this other program, but you can use for a similar cost, flipfinder.com. I shared that with you. No, I'm sorry, flipfinder.ai. I shared that with you last time as well, and that's a paid service. And when you go looking for these things on these vacant properties, my tip to you is the owner, because you can put in criteria of what you're looking for, okay? Certain criteria to at least the owner has owned it 10 years or more, okay? In my area, I would go 2,000 square feet or less, simply because if you're going to find this and you're going to try to sell it to a cash buyer, whether it be a fixer flipper, investor in your local area, or express offers, no matter where you're going to get rid of it at, there's certain bread and butter genre that they look at. And if you get into 3 or 4,000 square feet, the rehab costs get a little more expensive, that sort of thing. So you know your area, you know what's typical for your area. So search in that range. I wouldn't go too low, wouldn't go too high. I'd stay in that bread and butter range when you're trying to search these things out. Own 10 years or more. Don't care about beds and bath. They just got to be a little older. I'd say 1960s or older. And it depends on your area. Certain parts of Nevada, certain parts of Arizona, certain parts of California, everything in those communities basically is 80% within the last 10, 15 years. There are pockets like that. So you have to know your area and what's a little older and what's not. I would start out searching SFR first, see what you can get there. And then if you can't get enough or you've exhausted that list, then move on to townhomes first, then condos. Unless you live in an area like I think I mentioned this last week about Chicago, where in certain parts of Chicago, that's just nothing but condos in almost in an entire zip code. Okay. It's just that way there. So your market would dictate what you go after. This vacant list is pretty incredible. If you stop and think about it, if it's a vacant property, it's losing money. Property taxes, if there's a note, carrying costs, the whole 9 yards. So these people have to do something with them, either rent them, sell them, whatever they're going to do. So these are good lists to go after. Now, you'll sometimes see vacant homes show up with the institutionals. So when you do your pulling on your tax records and finding out who owns it, you're going to see things like New Res, care of Renew. You're going to see SFR Series 1000, blah, 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 blah. That's a hedge fund, that's a REIT. And you're going to pick up on those pretty quick. Okay. But the individual people, that type of thing, yeah, obviously those, and you want to use those as your cash buyers too. Keep in mind, when I first started this on April the 3rd, I think it was, we went over the 2020 census briefly, and at any given moment in the United States, there's 6 to 10% of people are in some form of distress. And that could be, yes, financial, they're not making their payments on their mortgage. It could be divorces. It could be all kinds of things. But it puts that property in a distressed situation where they need to probably either move it or lose it. Okay. And out of the, what would I say, was 154 million SFRs. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's pretty close to what it was. That means there's approximately 14 million vacant homes in the United States right now. 14 million. Now, obviously, certain areas are going to have more, certain areas are going to have a little less. Depends on the size of the city, population, etc. But these are good lists to go after. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. We've talked about how to find them, how to skip trace them, and that sort of thing, okay, in the previous times. And I've showed you bad skip. There's a couple of free ones that are on the last video, I think, as well. So use those resources, find those people, and reach out to them, okay? So that's number 4. Now let's move on to number 3. Tired landlords. Absentee owners with equity. That's what these are. Okay. You understand the principle, you understand the concept. Stop this. Am I still sharing? Yeah. All right. Anyway, these old tired landlords, a lot of times they've owned them for 10, 15 years. They're just worn out from collecting rents. And, don't get me wrong, some of them have property management companies because they own several. And most of these investors, unless they, like in my case, when my wife and I got married, we put together property into a rental. So unless it's a situation like that, most of these investors own several properties. So if they're tired and want to get out of them, it's a good source to go out and look for. Like I said, many own several of them. Okay. And to be honest with you, this is one of the most sought after lists for agents, wholesalers, private investors who just invest and they reach out to, go to the REO meetups. talking to their buddies, hey man, you got anything you want to sell? You tired of that crappy house on 123 Main Street? Yeah, I'd like to sell it. What do you give me for it? That stuff goes on all the time in those meetups. So if you can attend a meetup, most of them have one once a month. I strongly recommend taking 2 hours and go. Okay, it can't hurt.
What kind of a meetup? Like just an investment association,
REO,
or is there
yeah,
one
a
specifically for
REO
like
meetup.
landlords?
Real estate investment meetup. You go to meetup.com and find them in your area. I'm sure you can find several in your area. Okay. Real estate investors. That's what you're looking for when you're searching. Okay. They are the toughest list. They've got everybody in the living, breathing word calling them. Okay. I just had a call, I called a guy last week. He said in the past couple of months, he's probably have 50 calls about wanting to buy his rental properties. And he said, I will sell them. I don't have a problem with selling some of them. I'm going to keep a few. But I wouldn't mind selling off a couple because I need the cash flow or the cash. And I was like, oh, great, blah, 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 blah. We couldn't come together on a price. He wanted too much, but I'm not going to list it. Okay. I'm just not going to do it. That's not me. So I pawned it off on somebody else and hopefully I'll get a referral fee out of it. But you guys being traditional and now adding REO and distressed assets as one of your pillars, that would have been a great one for you to take. Yeah, let's go take a look. Let's get some offers in here. And because you're an agent and because you can list it, you're going to get the maximum that they can get. Most of these rental properties, if they've owned them for 5, 10 years, they're beat up a little bit. Although we replace the carpet and paint and this, that, and the other, but over a period of time, they just get run down. Okay, so you're not going to get top dollar out of it, and they know that. So, and plus they made probably a pretty good return, most of them, if they're savvy at all. So I recommend searching them, and you can find them. Same thing on PropWire, which is free. And the flipfinder.ai, it's there. PropStream, it's there. There's so many programs out though. Now those are paid, but the PropWire is free. For as long as Jerry keeps it free, everybody needs to use it because it's good data. Okay. So, and I mentioned to attend the REI meetups when you can. Now, I mentioned it last week about talking to investors and finding investors and talking to them about what their needs are and going to the sheriff's sales. I mentioned that last week. They will be there. I promise you, they will be there. There'll be some big players, and you'll have and the old timers will be standing around, and you'll have these little newbies trying to get in and see what's going on. And hey, and all the old guys know what's going on, and then they just laugh. But they're pretty cool for the most part. So it's funny to watch it. But anyway, and it's very competitive right now because REO is down. So there's not as much going through the sheriff's sale right now, but that number is starting to tick up. I've been watching it. I watch at least my area. I watch it very closely to see what's going on. Okay. So let's end that one on tired landlords, but they are good. Like I said, most of them own multiple and they are good source, but everybody is calling them. Everybody is calling them. So I would start out with a text. Hey, introduce yourself, unless you can get face to face with them in a meetup or something like that. Okay. So now, number 2 of the best possible ones is the expensive one. This is AI data list. So these people we're going to talk about are scientists. That's what they do. The first one is 80/20 REI. Now, this is a very exclusive, hang on a second, I'm not sharing anymore. This is a very exclusive group. They only allow so many per city. Get that up here. Here it is. Can you see this? 80/20 REI. Okay. This right here it's by lead. It's going to run you anywhere between $20,000 and $30,000 a year, just for your one little area. Probably 5 or 6, maybe 7 zip codes. But these people are awesome at finding and predicting when somebody's going to sell, whether it's somebody who'll take a cash offer, whether they're going to be a traditional type person. The data analytics that go into this is unreal. Somebody showed me a demo once, and I don't know how many thousands of points of data that they pull in and do this, but it is accurate, 100% accurate. I know the big boys in wholesale and the big boys at the Kellers, all of them, they're all using this technology now, and that's how they're making their cold calls. Okay, the other one is Audantic, and I've had an experience with this particular product before. It is, again, it's awesome. I don't know, I can't even describe it in any other way. It's just awesome. These are expensive. This is after you get going and you're starting to make some money, getting traction. The goal is to get you to $10,000 to $15,000 a month. Okay. Above and beyond what you're already doing. Okay. So if you're doing, 1,000, and I want you to get 11,000, okay, that type of thing. But these types of tools, once you get up there, you need to set aside some money and start looking at these tools, investigating them, and I'll be happy to talk you through it. I'll be happy to go along that journey with you. That's no problem. This is a huge investment, but I wanted to mention it because this right here is, other than the top one, this right here is one of the best things you can do to increase your revenue into well, it depends on your part of the country, but mid 6 figures or above. So this right here is awesome. So I just wanted to mention it. I don't want to talk a lot about it, but it is there, and it is, and you can believe it or not, FlipFinder.ai, it doesn't do as good a job at predictability when somebody's going to sell, but it's damn good, and it's not near as expensive. Okay, but they only let you have on the basic package, I think it's 97 a month or something. The basic package, they let you have 5 zip codes, and that's it. And obviously you can get more, but you have to pay more. Same thing. So anyway, it's a good tool. All right, because I want to get to this list tonight. FlipFinder.ai. Okay, let's move to the number one thing, and that is driving for dollars. How many of you people actually go out driving for dollars? Silence. Okay.
I have.
Okay. I figured you had. Okay.
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Driving for dollars is simple. Okay. You pick your neighborhoods. I wouldn't pick the new neighborhoods. I'd pick the ones that are a little older, before built, the general neighborhood built before maybe 2000. Well, it's 24 now, maybe 2005. Okay, a little bit older. I love the 70s, 80s, and 90s properties. They're great. Okay, because most of them need updating, some work, blah, blah, blah. Pick those neighborhoods and you start driving them. Now, back in the day, before I had this little tool called Deal Machine, I took a pad of paper, just like this, set it right next to me, wrote the name of the street down, And then I started driving the street. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for things that are paint's chipping, gutters may be loose or falling down. Um, God, it's just rough. Okay, rough. Stuff all over the yard, looks like it's not maintained. And as I'm driving along, I write those addresses down. And that's what I did back in the day. And then I go to the next street, write that street name down, and then write the numbers as I go through. Ooh, that one looks good. Ooh, that one looks good. And just write the addresses and just keep on creeping through. You look like a creeper. Well, I'm a guy, so I guess that's a creeper. But at the same time, hey, you're looking. So you take those addresses, you come back. I showed you a cyber trucker. That's free. But I like using bat skip, and it cost me 9 cents a skip, and they're very good. And then call them and pick up the phone and give them a call. Hey, yeah, I was driving by your house, and I was just wondering, would you consider an offer on that property there? Yes. Hey, you got a lead. Okay. 1212 Banana Street. I want to buy the house. Okay. So then at that point, you just keep going. I've heard these phone calls before. I've listened to these phone calls from my other people that I work with. Okay. That's kind of what it sounds like when they're first calling. Okay. Anyway, I'm being silly, but you understand. Okay. Bottom line is this is the best list in the world. And that requires you to spend a little gas. If you don't want to use this thing right here called Deal Machine, okay, this right here costs me, I want to say $60 a month. And what it does is I can drive through the neighborhood. I need the app on my phone's on the charger. I can't show it. Anyway, it has the app. You get on there, and I'm sharing this with you, right? No, I'm not. Crap. Sorry. Can you see this? This is the map that will show up on your thing, on your phone. And let's say you're going to start here. It will follow you. Let me zoom in. This is what this is a more industrial area. Let's look over here in the houses. Zoom in. And this is what you see as you drive down Villa Avenue. You click on that one. And let's take a look at it. And this is what you get. Let me move that out of the way. Percent equity. It's not 100%. Year built, living area, parcel ID, the whole 9 yards. Last sale. And what I do is I click that on my phone, that add lead button right there. Just with my thumb, just click add lead, and it goes into this database right here. Or leads, I'm sorry. I'm so used to doing it on my phone. And here it is. And as you drive along, click, 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 as you drive the neighborhood. And there's even a feature on there that it will follow you through the neighborhood. And as you look at your map, you kind of zoom out a little bit, you can see all the streets that you were on in that particular neighborhood. So if you missed one, you can go back and get a street. It's a cool product. And it cost me about $60 a month. But I don't want you to spend money when all you have to do is take a paper pad here and go out and write them down and then come back and skip them. Okay. I mean, if you've got the cash and you want to make the investment, great, go for it. Saves a lot of time and effort. Okay. But if you don't have the budget, get the pen and pad out and go. But I'm going to tell you right now.
What's the name of that tool?
It's called Deal Machine. You can see it at the top of the screen. Dealmachine.com. Okay.
And what did you say about the particular neighborhoods that were better?
I like older neighborhoods that are at least 2000, let's just say 2005 and older. I wouldn't go back into the 20s and 30s unless it's unless it's very common for your area. Like for example, in some parts of the East Coast, those older homes are everywhere, and so you can't get around it. And other parts of the country as well have those pockets, and that's all they have is nothing's built after 1940. And they've taken those old homes and really fixed them up. There's parts of California that's what they're doing. Um, little pockets here and there. So if it's common for your area to go back that far, okay, but you have to know your market. But this is a cool. It's when I first got it, it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. So I'm just a country boy. I'm sorry. All right. Am I still sharing? Stop share. Okay. So anyway, um, getting out for driving for dollars, it is absolutely the best list you're ever going to go out and get, because even I don't care if you're using AI and all kinds of other tools and this, that, and the other, that they don't get this. Don't get me wrong, some of them you're going to find that are on those lists, but I guarantee you 40 to 50% that you run across are not going to be on those lists, period. Okay. And you're driving by, the grass is all grown up. It's not showing up on anybody's list yet. They knew you don't know how many times. Even the kids when they were younger, and they're in grade school and their high school, we'd be driving down the road, and hey, Dad, there's one, looks a little repo-ish. They were trained to point it out. So I'm driving and oh yeah, okay, got it, okay. So anyway, but those are the best lists. So, let's see what else. So we talked about that. Now, uh, the past weeks, I wanted to have this done in 2 sessions, so it takes 3, because I chat so much. But one out of all of this, I don't want you to overthink it. Okay, we went through these lists, and some of them are going to be for you. You can't chase everything. Okay. You have to find a lane that you like, whether it's probate, driving for dollars, vacant, tired landlords, you name it, whatever you think your lane might be, you need to test it, try it, and go after it. I'd say pick no more than 2 lanes out of all of these. Okay. And don't overthink it. All right. Keep it simple. All right. You just look, what I run into a lot of people, they get started and they, I call it the 3 Ps. Okay. Procrastination, paralysis by analysis. You want to analyze everything to death. Okay. That's great. Some analysis is required, but some people just go overboard and you can't do it. All right, you get stuck, you get paralyzed. Oh God, what? Uh, should I go that way? Should I go that way? Don't. Okay, and perfectionism, the 3 Ps. All right, I think you all have heard this before, probably somewhere along your path. All right, don't. Imperfect action. All right, just like calling 1212 Banana Street. Would you entertain an offer on your home? I just drove by. Yes. Okay, great. And you're going to get a lot of no's. Or you're going to get, where'd you get my number? This sort of thing. Maybe. What's your offer? Because they've been called before. Well, how much are you going to pay me? If you give me $1 million, I'll sell it. You're going to hear all of that. Okay. And you're going to get clicks too. Okay. So it's just the way it works. You got to get a thick skin. You got to just roll with it. Anybody says no, some people have been called so many times, they're going to cuss you out. Roll with it. Just let it roll off, keep going. All right. There's going to be another call. And somewhere along the way, the more of those conversations that you have with these folks, all right, you're going to get a deal. And when you get your first deal and you get paid for that deal, you're going to be happy. All right. I could do this again. Okay. And you're going to do it again and again and again and again. But you have to put in the work. All right. Being a keyboard warrior, yes, you can get a lot of data, you can get it gathered together, but being on the keyboard isn't going to make you a lot of money. It might make you some money, all right, but it's not going to make the money I think you probably want to make. Okay. And I've run across that problem with agents in the past. Um, they have all these ideas and they're going to do all these things, but you have to implement them. You have to put together the plan. And with the plan, we're going to talk about next week. At least I'm going to give you a proposed plan. And then at that point, you can tweak it. You can do whatever you want to with it, or just throw it out the window. But I'm going to give you a proposed plan on how to do it, how much time to spend here, there, and whatever. And you have to pick your lane, 1 or 2 lanes, and then work those lanes. Okay. So let's recap what we've run over on the last 3 videos. It's only 40 right now. So number 10 was the Zillow on market, off market, FSBO type people, that type of people. Number 9 was tax defaults. You can make money with tax defaults if you know what you're doing, but you can also lose your ass if you don't. But getting listings is a different matter. Expireds, vacant land. Still think there's so many people missing this. Number 6 is code violations. Number 5 was a probate or inherited. The bonus one was reverse wholesaling. And that's something you may not make a lot of money with it, but it's something you can do. Okay. Reach out to those people, make contacts with them. If nothing else, you might find that they want to buy one. Okay. Because a lot of these wholesalers also invest. Okay. So make a friend. The vacant properties, 3 tired landlords. Number 2, the AI list, the data miners. And number 1, driving for dollars. That's all I really have. I mean, I could go on. You guys know I could talk your ears off. We could drone on till 9 o'clock, but I'm going to keep it down. You know, I want to be respectful of the time. So, questions at this point? Brenda. Oh, Brenda.
Not right now.
Hey, I'm thinking about the vacant land thing because recently I've been getting into land, so I can't. I guess next week you'll tell us like a general plan, and then maybe I'll do something with that with the vacant land thing because I like land. I'm interested in land.
You can make money with land.
Yeah.
You know, what you want to focus on in the beginning is finding and it goes back to what we call driving for dollars.
Yeah.
Driving through, well, first of all, just don't take off looking for vacant land. Okay. Plan on at least looking for, worn out, tired, broken down houses and stuff like that too.
Okay.
But
I like the vacant house thing too.
I drive through neighborhoods all the time. Some of them are nice neighborhoods, some of them are medium, some of them are low end. All right. I had a guy looking, to give you an example. I had a guy last year looking for a double lot, and he didn't care where it was. It just had to be inside the city loop. Indianapolis has a big loop that goes around it. Okay. We call it the racetrack. It's a 55-mile racetrack around
The Indy 500.
pretty much. That's the way we drive. Anyway, he was looking for a double lot. I found him a double lot, and the guy who owned it was in a very much lower income neighborhood. Most of the homes in there, 100,000 or less.
Mm.
And I asked the guy, would he be willing to sell them? He was needing some cash, and he said he would. And I called my guy and said, I don't know if you're going to like these, but I think I found you a couple of lots you could use. And I bought each lot for $5,000 and sold them to him for 10. each.
Oh,
Okay, I just did that transaction myself. Okay,
yeah.
since it was so cheap. But yeah,
So the vacant land, you're calling the owners and just seeing if they want to sell it. And if they do, then you just take the listing and sell the land. I've never comped land before though. I've only comped residential.
you can comp. Well, it depends on your area, but
Yeah.
here's your rule of thumb.
Yeah.
What you want to focus on is vacant land lots that are in a subdivision. Okay, that's already been basically built out.
Mhm.
Okay, it's got the water, the sewer, the electric, gas, if you have gas, that type of thing. Okay, all the utilities are already there. Okay.
Okay.
And then also, if you find a lot that looks promising, then you want to go bring it up on the assessor's GIS website and look at the setbacks if you can find those, or if it gives you those. Many of them do, some don't. Oh, speaking of that, let me finish this thought. Now I'm going to show you something. And then basically, rule of thumb, a builder, look in the neighborhood and see what's there. Don't find the nicest home, maybe not the biggest home, but the nicest home, and look at the pricing of what's going on in that neighborhood, a recent sale, that type of thing. Okay. And basically, what a builder or somebody who wants to invest and build something, they budget basically 10% of whatever the final cost is
Mm.
for a lot cost. So if it's a $400,000 neighborhood and you find a lot, typical lot for that neighborhood, basically $40,000 what a builder or somebody like that wants to spend for that lot. That's what they budget. All right. So you pick it up for 25, or if you want to do it yourself, if you have the ability to do so, or you just list it for the homeowner and get a little bit more and do a flat fee for the listing fee, because you're not, 3% of 40,000, that's not very much money. So
Yeah.
I paid a flat fee out of them somehow. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You
What
know,
do you think?
2,500 or something.
What you think 2,500 is fair, like flat fee or something like that?
Yeah, I would say so. In a situation, you're gonna find a $40,000 list price, well, 3%, even if you want max 3%,
Yeah.
you're only gonna get $1,200.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at least get 2,500 out of the deal.
Okay.
But again, it's all negotiable,
Yeah.
you know? Start high, negotiate down.
Yeah. I'll take a $10,000 flat fee. That's it. They get out of $5,000. Okay, yeah, I'll take it.
You be careful with that. Some states
I'm
have
kidding.
rules about getting too
Yeah.
crazy. Okay, so double check your state.
Yeah.
Okay, don't get yourself into trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, but I did want to share one thing with you. If I brought it up online or not. Uh, nope, I didn't yet.
I guess my thing is like in this area, I'm worried that there's not enough land to be able to like comp and get like a reasonable like value of it.
Oh, okay. Well, now get this. Now, everybody's financial situation is different. Okay. So I don't want to presume anything.
Mhm.
But for example, in some of these inner city areas, there's a lot of investors that actually build to rent Section 8. They actually build to rent Section 8 because they know they're going to get paid. They know they're not allowed to tear up the home. And if they do, they get in trouble, the whole 9 yards. So they look for them. I can pick up inner city lots, 30 by 80, 30 by 100, 35, 40 wide. Okay. For anywhere between $4,000 and $8,000 all day long. Just got to find them. But again, I would buy them and then flip them to whomever, okay, and make $2,000 or $3,000. Because if I take it down completely and own it, and then sell it, even if it's a double close, um, it's better for me to do it that way because I make more money. On a that kind of lot, listing it, and no, don't waste your time. Okay, go for the higher end lots and then negotiate a fair price or fee,
Yeah,
something like that.
that's a good idea to just buy them if they're that cheap.
Well, and if you get in, some of these folks are looking for them constantly. So if you run across people, a lot of times the buyers will go ahead and just pay you a flat fee. I mean, they're out there, trust me. If you find the lots that they want, they don't care about, you making a quote commission. They just pay you a flat fee and be done with it. And that's your deal. I know several people do it. Now, where you're going to make money is on the larger parcels, acre, 2 acres, 4 acres, if you can find them somewhere in the burbs, usually very rare, you're going to find them in the low, inner city somewhere. Um, those you can make more money with. It just depends. Brenda was looking at something that could be commercial this past week, and we need to talk about that too, Brenda, um, later, not now. And it could have been a deal, all right, but you got to find the buyer and stuff like that. And I don't know how serious the guy was, but there is opportunity, especially on commercial property. All right, commercial land. Okay. Anyway, but I wanted to show you all this real quick. You all, yeah, okay. You don't want to see the back end of HUD. Well, maybe you do, but I'm not going to show you. Okay, this is something called Netter Online. It's a great database to find public records. Somebody give me a state and a county.
All right, we can do mine. New Jersey and Morris.
Morris?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, no, 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 hang on. New Jersey, Morris, hang on. I went to the wrong thing. Go to public records online. And here you can find this is a great tool. If you don't know, they don't have they don't have GIS. Oh, they do. Okay. Tax clerk. Oh, I don't want to see the Bill of Rights. I could care less. Tax records, search track, tax record. And I mean, don't get me wrong, your MLS, oh, they do have GIS buffer lists. Okay, everyone's a little different how they're set up. But anyway, you can find, let's say your MLS doesn't have it. Okay. And it's an adjacent county or it's a little bit, the East Coast towns probably have a lot of this stuff. But if you get out in the more rural areas, um, sometimes finding those tax records, property records, doing your due diligence sometimes is difficult in these little counties out in the boonies kind of somewhere. Okay. This Netter Online is a great tool to find those records and to do your due diligence. Can't even speak tonight. What's wrong? But you just go to Netter Online, beginning, and you got your tabs here, public records online. Come on. Work with me. And brings up the map, pick your state, and pick your county. Now, in Illinois, a lot of times these little tiny counties, I'm working over there with HUD stuff with my partner, and these little counties are podunk. Actually have to use this sometimes, and especially if I want to find the GIS data and do some measuring and looking around and seeing, you understand. This is a great tool for that. It's free. you know, just wanted to mention it and show it to you. All right. I've got 53. So any other questions or anything? Anything I can help you with? If I can. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to stop recording.